Good morning, everybody. Today it's May 2nd, and we're in John 2. And John's Gospel is kicking off and starting to pick up with Jesus' ministry in particular. And he's starting out in Galilee and in Nazareth, as we have him here at the beginning. Actually, not in Nazareth, in Cana in the beginning of this passage. And it says that Jesus turned water into wine, and it makes a point of saying that these are stone water jars filled with water for ceremonial cleansing that are available to Jesus to turn into wine here. And obviously, a lot of significance to this first gospel, this first miracle that Jesus does. In fact, that's what John says about it. This is the first of the signs that through which he revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. So a sign is something that helps us to understand the significance of who somebody is, and that's what a sign and significance, those both come from the same root. So I think certainly pointing to his life and ministry that he's going to take the water of the traditional Jewish cleansings and he's going to bring something celebratory out of it. He's going to do something deeper and more meaningful with it. In fact, when he's crucified, of course, and pierced, his water and blood flows out, and I think that's symbolic of what's happening here too. The wine replacing the water, his blood replacing the older sacrifices as well. I think there's a lot to be said for that. Eventually, then John gets into Jesus going into the temple and cleansing it, driving out those who are buying and selling in that. And he says, "Get these out of here. Stop turning my father's house into a market." Um, and so these are things that it says also that his disciples remembered about him, that he is triggering things in their minds and in their memories of the things that he is doing in front of them. Eventually, then also the Jews responded to him, "What sign can you show us to prove your authority to do all these things?" And Jesus said, "Destroy this temple, and I will raise it up again in 3 days." And one more time, the disciples, it is recorded here, remember after his resurrection that he had said these things ahead of time. So all of these things have significance in their immediate context, but will have much more significance and meaning once they are fulfilled in his life and ministry. And so I think we look at Jesus and we can see that the things that he is doing are intentional, that they are helpful, that they are compassionate and merciful for the people who immediately experience those, but they have even greater significance even for those who are looking back on them and understanding who he is afterwards. I think it's maybe a little difficult for us to see reading the Gospels, um, well, in a couple of ways. First of all, because we already understand what Paul says later about Jesus's atonement for us and all the significance of that. But the Gospels also bring that out if we have eyes to see that. I think it was hard for people living in the moment, though, to understand all those things that Jesus was doing in front of them. It would take months, years even for them to be able to process all that he had done in front of them and the significance of those things. So, something great from the beginning of John's gospel here.